and gentlemen, as we are pretty much ready to start with Clubhouse here. Let's get into it. It's eUnited versus Tempo Storm, and like I said before, eUnited is on the brink of potential relegation here if they don't swing it back.
Yeah, quite scary. So eUnited going to be our first ban here for the offense, getting Hibana off the board, something we haven't seen rudimentarily, at least, on Clubhouse for quite some time, but nevertheless, she is going to be removed. Maverick going to be off the board as well, which is going to leave up our good friend Thatcher once again.
We're going to see this ban starting to become more and more common. Like we said, it's usually a little bit of a different combination, but Hibana and Maverick has been one that we've seen in the past as well. Maestro aligning pretty well. We talked about this on the last map. Echo is currently permabanned for technical reasons. He's in quarantine right now. So Maestro is in a very common ban that a lot of people have been drifting to as a result of that. And Vigil is actually going to be a pretty interesting one, but makes sense when you consider how essential he is for the roam games. That becomes pretty a pretty often thing that you'll see on some of the sites on this map. Not as much as other maps, though, which makes it kind of an interesting ban.
Well, I think the main thing with the Vigil is that we've seen Vigil used a lot for prevention inside of Clubhouse setups recently, most notably downstairs inside of Garage, as well as Cache whenever they hold that, when they're holding down a Master and Gym. We've seen a lot of those impacts underneath the floor to prevent anyone blowing open those Cache walls, and Vigil makes it even more potent simply because you can't get a beat on the guy. When he turns that backpack on, he's invisible to drones, so he can move around that room practically freely. All you can do is hear him. So now that Vigil's off the board, they're going to have to go somewhere else if they want to try and impact anything. As for eUnited, though, they're going to be starting on defense, and yes, they are going to be the blue team this time around, folks. Inside of the custom games, you can actually switch the sides on which you start. Doesn't matter what color you are. So eUnited going to be blue, Tempo Storm going to be orange here on the offense. Just make sure you guys know that, because I know typically speaking, it's the other way around.
All right, guys, so to take a look at the opening setup here for eUnited, as they're going to be holding on the inside of Cache. Just taking a look at the operator lineup, things looking pretty much like what we've been seeing in the past. You'll do note that there won't be any wall denial here, but that also is not too far away from the common trends we've been seeing. Oftentimes, wall denial doesn't really lead to a whole lot here, especially anything beyond just mute jammers being placed to temporarily delay things. And this is especially true when you still have the Thatcher in play. So eUnited is going to choose to just not bring anything at all, and that's not going to be a bad decision.
Well, eUnited setting up actually, well, exactly what I expected for this setup here. We're going to have Yeti as well as Grixer downstairs. Seems that Yeti is going to go all the way down main here, expecting, I'm assuming, one of these Tempo members to try and rotate through dirt, which is a usual thing on this map, but Tempo Storm not going to do so. Quite smart here as eUnited has already set up the barricade for them to try and go through. Obviously, though, with this amount of utility that they do have down here right now, eUnited are kind of worse for wear, as Yeti is actually still all the way downstairs with those impacts that you could use to prevent Garage, but Tempo Storm mostly centralized around Jacuzzi for the time being.
Taking a look at anything else that we might see building up here. Much like the last map, we're seeing kind of a slow broil starting to build up between these teams at the beginning of the round, especially when eUnited's been on defense because of how successful Tempo was, at least in the first map, at just generally winning out some of the early gunfights in the rounds when you've got players like Mar Craters and, of course, based on the last round, even Dream as well, really just hitting on all cylinders when it comes to individual 1v1s. eUnited is making the smart choice here by trying to delay and waste time rather than by trying to fight for early picks, as has often been the case. They're not all passive, though, as you'll see with the form of Yeti here, still lurking around the basement stairs, and he also has Grixer nearby to support, too. It doesn't look like they were going to try to make a play against the push coming in from Master side, but that's been called off now, and they're rotating back over towards the blue stairs, eventually to go up red, more than likely to support their teammates.
The main problem is right now for eUnited is there's no one inside of the stage area to prevent this thermite from going off. They send an impact, but it doesn't land, and now this wall's open even though eUnited planned for the prevention. This is a botched round so far from eUnited. Toxic Babes going off already as well. So good pressure here from Tempo Storm as they've got complete rain all over construction until Yeti peeks out of the door. Mark not ready for the very aggressive Yeti as he peeks out through the single breach. Next breach coming in though now is Dream pops open flat.
Yeti's going to be able to pick up yet another kill here for eUnited as they continue to hold strong here. A little bit of an aggressive swing gets him another kill against the Tempo roster. Tempo down to 3, now potentially 2, as Dream's also been dropped. Maybe a possibility for him to get revived. He hasn't been confirmed just yet, but he's not going to be able to crawl off the side there. Alfama ends up taking him down just off the smoke charge that's tossed out the window. Rexon will bring it down to 1 with another pickup, and Alfama will seal the deal. It's a flawless round from eUnited as they get off to a booming start on defense with a successful defense of Cash.
Quite scary there initially for eUnited when the exothermic was allowed to go off without a hitch, but eUnited immediately fights back. Some beautiful play there from Yeti, really contesting and getting in Tempo's face there. The frontline bruiser that eUnited needed, and Yeti was the man that was the call to honor there. So hopefully Yeti can keep that up throughout all of Clubhouse, but Tempo Storm probably not going to get taken aback about the same thing over again. Tempo has been quite aggressive throughout this series so far, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be stopping anytime soon, John, as we're dropping a thermite for a blitz. And Dream is making sure that we know.
Yeah, he's really highlighting it for us. Thank you, Dream. We appreciate that. So indeed, the blitz is being brought in. This became more and more of a common thing at the start of stage 2, primarily because I believe Dark Zero started to use it quite a bit, and quite often it proved to be pretty effective too. So this is going to be an interesting pickup for Tempo, and we'll see if it works just as well for them as it has sometimes worked for Dark Zero.
Blitz is a very, very strong operator in certain regards. The thing that he's really, really good at is dealing with shield players like we were talking about before, mainly because you can actually stun people through those deployable shields. And this used to not be a thing all up until they put the slits on those deployable shields. But now, since you have vision through those, if he ends up setting off that shield in front of you, then you're blind, and Blitz is allowed to just walk up and do whatever he wants to you. So not the most fun, but there's a lot of other things that you can do as well. There's obviously the real pressure that Blitz brings to the table. It's a man running at you with a shield that can possibly stun your vision and make it where you can't see. There's a lot of things that can be done with Dream inside of this round. We'll see how Tempo tries to apply Blitz to this round.
Taking a look at Dream, nothing amazing going to come off right off the bat anyway. We are going to see him go over here towards the jacuzzi balcony, and he more than likely is not going to be alone in this. There should be a couple other players grouping up with him. It is reinforced, so he's not going to be able to do much to get past that wall right now. He's kind of just got to sit here and do a bit of drone work, but that drone work's going to be a pretty short stay, as Yeti's already on that hole, and he quickly pops off the drone before it even gets inside. Yeti knows he's got more pressure on him, so he's going to have to go off drone duty temporarily here and start watching out for actual players to begin swinging his way, since he knows that the pressure is going to start to broil up, of course, forced from the Logi direction and soon from the wall where Dream was trying to drone a second ago.
Oh man, just noticing this now for Tempo Storm, they actually don't have any vertical play operator inside of their lineup right now. So instead of bringing stuns on the Ash, they've brought breaching charges to pair with creators for this verticality that they're going to need inside of Kitchen if they go for it. Big pickup here for Marcus. He motions up red, takes down Yeti, still has to wait for one, and he wins the secondary fight as well, as that's a double for Mark on the round, taking down Rex and in that pair with Yeti. So big impact so far on these roamers as eUnited loses a mark on where Tempo was.
Good drone placement at the top of blue. It does spot at least one of the two players trying to move up blue and begin to get aggressive against Mark or another member of Tempo Storm. Dream will be able to take down Alfama, probably as a direct result of that drone intel coming in a few moments ago. And also the second player that was here from eUnited, not anywhere to be seen, but Kansan still has positioning on the inside of Garage, and he could certainly still make an impact. He's going to walk right up to the backside of Mark, take him down. Doesn't seem to have an interest in sticking around to go for more than that, though, as he's quickly going to fall back down through blue and maintain a position down here. 2v4, though. Main reason why we see that player fall back so efficiently. Grixer also holding by the main stairs, and Kansan going to be able to get one from the outside hallway by Church as well. Kills Creators trying to push in from Moto. Now all of a sudden, it's been flipped, and we're down to two players from Tempo. Dream moving in, gets a brutal frag against Grixer, and a headshot in the downstate to finish things off. Kansan with the wrap, though, could trade it right back. Misses the signal at first, but he gets them both! And Kansan clutches out the round for eUnited.
Well, Smoke Criminal Kansan able to sprint right through there and picks up two big kills after Blitz had just done the same thing to his teammate. I thought Tempo Storm was going to get away with that one, but everyone losing track of every single member practically there, all except for Kansan. Knew exactly what was going on, able to rush through that smoke. Those Somas so damn loud, John, nobody could hear him sprinting in behind them. Some very, very heads-up plays here from eUnited so far, but I mean, that round right there, a huge, huge botch from Tempo Storm. I mean, 4v2, the last two members of eUnited are downstairs. That's where the crosses need to come in from Tempo Storm. They need to dominate those angles in order to get pressure onto site. In a 4v2 on Clubhouse, that's probably going to be one of the most laid back plans you've had in quite some time. But instead, they solo pressure main stairs as well as blue, lose both of the gunfights, then inevitably try and rush downstairs through a smoke, get the pick, but still lose out the round because of a very nice play from Kansan. Instead of just, well, I don't know, going for possibly a kitchen drop or trying to centralize your people so that you can trade things out. I mean, with the blitz in tow, he can face check a lot of things for you. I was just very surprised for the adjustment that they had there and what they tried to take. I mean, just pushing people to solo positioning inside of that 2v4 just begs for the other team to clutch.
Yeah, there was a little bit of moto pressure, it looked like, right at the beginning of that, if I caught the kill position correctly, but that was like the first player to go down. So after that one is when it goes into that very two-dimensional take that you were just mentioning there, and we really don't see any other additional pressure avenues being put onto those two players. So they're able to just work the hallway, pick up a massive string of frags, and, you know, start bringing it back under their control as it ultimately goes down to the 2v2 right there. As you said, really a round that should not have ended up being that close, and definitely not one that should have gone into the hands of United. Props to them once again for turning around that 2v4, as that was some fantastic stuff. Those players, I think, both having to work multiple angles and doing so successfully for a good 30 to 40 seconds before one of them eventually fell there. If you guys missed it, we did have one player bug out in the loading screen, so we have to quickly rehost the match, and that's why you're looking at our faces again. Hopefully, though, not going to be too long before we're going right back into game with the scoreline, of course, intact. It's going to be a 2-0 lead for eUnited as they're taking a strong stride here on the defensive half of Clubhouse to start things off and hopefully get them back into this series.
Well, both of the teams looking quite solid throughout the series so far, but Clubhouse proving difficult for Tempo Storm. They're only down 2 rounds, and obviously this map is defender-sided, but with these bans that we have coming into play, it's not exactly as defender-sided as you would initially think. I mean, with Thatcher and Ace on the board, that's going to open up quite a few things. The real thing that you are going to have to worry about, obviously, has to be that impact tricking that grows more and more prevalent, I feel like, by the day. But even then, it feels like Tempo Storm should really be picking up some of these rounds, most notably that last one like we were talking about, but I don't think that they're out of this fight just yet, especially with this break coming in. This is going to be some time for Tempo Storm to talk about what's going on and try and get these mid-round adjustments to be more potent, because that last round should have never have happened.
It just seems like, just kind of looking back at the 2 rounds we played here so far, as well as the attacking rounds that they also were able to play out back in the first map, it does kind of look like there might be like some issues with Tempo trying to control the situation on a low timer. I don't know if that's because comms are getting too chaotic and possibly there's some confusion happening amongst the players, or they just are not executing with enough intel, which could very easily be the reason as well, considering that a lot of these mistakes are happening with low time on the clock, so they may be kind of forced into these situations. But the important point to this is that eUnited has noticed that. United is absolutely abusing that by trying to take that passive stride. And they've even started to get a little bit more aggressive in early round, as we just saw with that start there. Obviously, it's, you know, mixed results, but when it comes to the late round, they are definitely trying to push the passive node as far as they can and then force Tempo into these really awkward executes, which have really been tripping them up more than once, both on this map and the one that we already played back over on Oregon.
Yeah, well, the thing is with eUnited, especially inside of that last round, was the pacing switch up. We saw Grixer as well as Kansan get crazy aggressive when it got down to that clutch time, you know, the 2v4. They start swinging a lot of angles, trying to catch people off guard, and that's exactly what happened. That's why those solo pushes that were happening for Tempo Storm were ill-advised. You need to stay around your teammates and try and get it off on low cost, because when they try and push into what your setup is, you can obviously either trade or just get the initial picks, because you have that man count. Into the 4v2, that's more than likely going to be winnable, especially with a blitz on the board.
All right, guys, we have all 10 players reconnected into the server, so we are just doing some last-second settings here, and then assuming that there's no issues with any of the players loading in, should be good to start, folks. But away from that, once again, a 2-0 lead is currently set up here from eUnited if you are just joining us. A 1-0 lead in the overall series, however, has been established for the folks on Tempo Storm. They just took control over our first map on Oregon, and if they can take this one, they're going to send eUnited into a relegation match later on at the end of this year, closer towards the end of this year, for relegation and potentially elimination from the North American League. So we'll have to see if they can survive here and take this to a third map and try to flip that situation and that very unfortunate scenario onto Tempo Storm. We are going back into the map now, guys, so pending any major issues here, we should be live again in just a second, and everything looks good here. So I think we're heading back into Operator Select in any moment.
Believe so as well, my friend. I will say this though, both of these teams definitely surprising today, most notably Tempo Storm stepping up in a lot of ways with this squad. There's still some rough patches every once in a while, but for the most part they've been able to find some smooth water and continue pushing the boat forward. So North America as a whole looking quite strong. It really seemed as though Tempo was the caboose on this train, and they're trying to move their car up further and further.
Dream's really the
And
wild card with these 6 picks today.
he really is. He really is. So now bringing a Ying to the board. But what I was trying to say is eUnited, the team that we really didn't expect to be at the bottom of the pile, all of a sudden in this very, very weird conundrum with Tempo Storm, where Tempo seems to be back to form for the most part, but eUnited still fall into this, hey, we keep every single game competitive thing, and Tempo Storm might be able to close out this series if eUnited are not careful.
All right, well, we'll see how the Ying 6-pick will work out here for Dream. Obviously, the 6-pick having a little bit more effectiveness on the attacking side. Most defender 6-picks will get revealed during the drone phase and are usually pretty readable anyway for my interpretation of them. But you can oftentimes hide the attacker 6-pick a little bit better, and that may be what Dream is trying to do here, both in this round and the last. We'll see if those Candelas are able to catch anyone from United off guard here. Round's begun, and we've got Dream along with the rest of Tempo out on the board, so let's see where they're going to start with their attack. Yeti actually does have an angle to work off here if he wants to try and swing out for Crazy, but Crazy very well aware of the fact that that could happen too, so he is hard scoped in on that right now and will not become a victim of it. Yeti doesn't even peek it, in fact, so no scary situations building up there at the beginning of the round. Looks like most of the players from Tempo are rotating themselves over towards the Jacuzzi balcony to start things off and begin opening up some avenues of attack. We did have our observer going over towards the cache door there for a second, so you might have noticed that floor destruction. That doesn't obviously give you access to the floor below it, but it does let you impact trick from those from that, just that top destruction there, so it can still work to impact.
Absolutely, those impacts can have a big influence over the round if he's able to get rid of any of that hard destruction. But 2 Selma charges already down for the offense as they now have Jacuzzi open. No secondary utility that's going to assist in a lot of these burns. We do have Dream and Crazy with some, but both assigned to smokes for the time being. We do indeed have Dream still on that Ying, so these Kandalas could have some influence over the round as well. As for eUnited, though, still sticking to this patience game. Could see them wide swinging some things here as Yeti steps out once again, but Dream good for it this time around.
I'm actually very surprised that Dream won that. Looked like he was going to get caught on drone, so luckily was either able to catch it from the drone POV or just managed to hop off it at the perfect time to be able to catch the run out. Either way, pretty unlucky for Yeti as he had a good lineup for that one, and unfortunately is going to become victim of it instead as Tempo gets the opening advantage to work off of here. Bit of hesitation following that, and they've got a good amount of time to work with. Of course, the wall's already open with still over a minute to go. A little bit of trouble getting the bathroom open as there's a mute jammer on the other side of that. We'll see if they're able to deal with it and still get access with their third and final Selma charge in a moment here. Dream starts us off as well as he's going to be able to get the second consecutive kill here for Tempo Storm. Starts chucking those Candelas in. It's going to blind Cans, and even though he's all the way in the next room over, but it also acts as a siren call that someone's going to be dropping into that hatch. Kansan rotates his position and is able to take out Dream. Grixer as well gets a double on the Nitro cell. Mark's going to try to bring this back. Starts it off with a very nice shot against Kansan. Jarvis will also have success in taking down Rex and NAL. Everything falls to Grixer. He's in sight. Might be able to try to move in here to deny the plant, but he's cautious and with good reason too. But might be a little bit too concerned. Maybe not. Swings back up to the top stairs, takes down Mark, and now it goes to a 1v1 between him and Jarvis.
Well, this is some major problems here. Grixer currently 3-0. Jarvis been in this game so long. Can he do it once again? He can. Nice move from Jarvis there as he goes through the rotate and steps through the angle as soon as Grixer backs up. That's professional play there for you folks. Just one little misstep inside of timing and Jarvis is able to win a round off of that. Some clutch plays coming out from Jar Jar. Let's see if we can continue this on as Tempo Storm pick up their very first round here on offense.
Did you just call him Jar Jar?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Binks, actually, that's his last name.
Oh, is it? Is that actually his last name?
No, it's not.
I was going to say, there's no way that lined up.
No, it's
right.
Samuel Jarvis, if I remember correctly.
You're not allowed to call him that, community, by the way. I'm not going to let that happen.
I'm not gonna say it ever again.
No, we're not. I'm refusing to let that happen. Please don't do that.
Why not?
'Cause I know he'll hate it, and I'm trying.
But
I'm saying no for his sake.
Oh man, no. But overall, really good round there from Tempo Storm. eUnited showing quite a few cards that we haven't seen very many teams using. Most notably the Nitro underneath to prevent anyone from blowing the wall for bathroom. I haven't seen that one done in a little bit by a squad and have it work to the same effectiveness as we saw it work inside of that last round. But some really good calls there from Tempo Storm. Mark making a nice adjustment as well as rotating towards logistics with an on-the-fly call to make sure that Jarvis got that diffuser down. So Tempo still having, well, a fighting chance here inside of Clubhouse.
United, of course, still in control with the 2-1 lead, but now possibly approaching a risk of losing it here. But they do go back to the more solid of the two sites, and they were able to win for themselves. In fact, if memory serves me correctly, they won this round in flawless fashion when Tempo first tried to attack it. So we'll see if Tempo can improve their own attack here. Like we talked about before, the last round, there wasn't actually any wall denial. This time we are going to see it, though, coming in from Grixer. He'll jump onto the Bandit, but as I was saying during the first round, because of the fact that we've got both a Thatcher and, of course, two types of standard hard breach here, it shouldn't be too much of a task to get past Grixer into the batteries that he's put on that wall.
Well, I think that the reason that they're going to be playing the denial here is because of the positioning from eUnited. They have Yeti down in the bottom of Garage, not only to use his impacts to keep the garage locked, but also prevent anyone from moving into stock. So Grixer's going to be able to do quite a few things here, all except deny the wall because, well, the wall gets blown open. EMP up against it, and I believe Grixer had a battery in his hand, so he's not able to shoot off the battery, or not the, well, actually, excuse me, yes, the battery that had been disabled by the Thatcher. So nice pickup here from Tempo Storm as they continue to pressure the wall, get their initial pick onto Grixer, and are now focused on a garage.
They actually get Grixer, I think, just while peppering the soft wall that goes into cash as well, so to get away with that one. Grixer definitely not going to be happy about the results that transpired there, as it was Craters who was still on Repel that managed to pick up that kill. Might have got a quick glimpse of him, but just had to follow him through the soft wall there. Either way, advantage to Tempo Storm for the second round in a row here. A lot of drone work being done over on the Logi side of the map, and of course the bedroom side of the map too. They want to make sure there's no additional roaming presence that's been set up here, so that Dream and more than likely Mark, as we just saw drop in through the hatch there, are going to be able to move in and take control without too much of an issue. As Stokes was mentioning before, we do still have Yeti downstairs looking to make some impact. He's going to throw the impact out and take down Craters on Repel. Nice play from him. Quickly darts back to the inside of storage and is going to go down the hatch to save his life.
Yeah, there was not really any pressure happening on the wall, so very intelligent of Yeti to know what this take was going to be. Instead of going for a garage setup here, Tempo has adjusted their sight lines over towards construction. So Creator's entire job there was to hold off the garage player. That's why Jarvis has now stepped up onto Plat. They need to prevent any crosses from happening here when this diffuser starts to go down. Limiting a lot of eUnited's successes is paramount in order to get that diffuser placed. So Kansan with a nice punch hole here does some damage, but it's Mark to strike first as he takes down Yeti. We have Dream step up inside of the bomb site, but immediately gets eviscerated. Alfama following through as Mark tries to pressure Red, but Kansan's all over the place. He's shutting everyone down, and it doesn't even matter if you want to try and force it crazy. Rexon's still inside of the garage, and he's still got a gun with bullets in it. Rexon cleans things up for eUnited as they find their third round.
Yeah, so despite multiple avenues of attack being opened up there by Tempo Storm, in addition to the opening advantage going in their direction, a small aggressive play from players like Yeti, as well as a solid hold at top red from the two players that were doing that on eUnited, are able to turn the tides and bring that round back under solid control from eUnited as they take cash control for a second time in this half. Up to round 5 now, and they're going to continue to just rotate around the loop here and go back towards basement as their next site.
All right, well, headed downstairs as you just said. Overall, so far between these two, eUnited's been really, really willing to change things up on their playstyles. The little playmaking that they've been able to do mid-round has been the big deciding factor so far inside of their clubhouse defense. As long as they're not able to get away with that, it seems as though Tempo's able to get their rounds off, but eUnited's able to either change the pacing or get some very important picks later into the round that leaves Tempo Storm stumped. So Tempo just need to tighten up around the outside of the ship, make sure all the ropes are tied down, you know, good stuff. That way you don't flip over and, well, inevitably go to the bottom of the ocean. That'd be a big problem, wouldn't it? So Tempo Storm still need to tighten down all of those hatches. So far, though, the adjustments that they've brought to the table, not necessarily the worst thing in the world. They are going to be bringing Dream back with the shield. Most notably, though, his best 6 pick so far being the Candela wielding Ying that was able to find not only quite a few picks, but as well as use that T5 to good use.
Well, while Dream is going to try to flash his way through the competition, you guys can flash your looks in-game. We've got all sorts of new bundles available in the store, like the NAL bundle that you see in front of you right now. Be sure to go ahead and take a look at some of those. Don't forget to purchase them. They directly support Rainbow Six Esports and your favorite teams. All those, along with all the great Rainbow Six share skins, now available in the store.
T95, by the way, for that LMG. T5, T95. We have so many guns in this game now, man. It's something else. But we are going to have Dream pressuring Garage now as the Blitz seems to be worried about somebody playing inside of Secret, and he damn well should be. There's two eUnited members inside of here. It's a Jaeger as well as the Wamai of Yeti. Drone now coming in to try and assist.
I don't know if the timing of that was just coincidental or if they just literally ran for the hills when they heard the blitz, but it certainly looks suspicious there, as eUnited are indeed going to retreat from their blue hull the second they hear that shield running down the hallway. So once again, a very turtley setup going to be the way that eUnited try to play the basement hold here, which is smart considering their extended roam the last time they played basement ultimately came back to haunt them, even though they were ultimately able to rally and win that round anyway. Down to about a minute and a half, about half the round still left here for Tempo to play off of. And like I said, they've got a lot of first and second floor control. But as is often the problem for both Tempo and really a lot of our teams here, they need to transition it downstairs. Thankfully, with this massive excess of time, that shouldn't be too much of an issue to at least set up the plan for the execute.
Yeah, this seems like a much more utility-centric setup here for eUnited, leaning on that utility to try and prevent a lot of the things that Tempo Storm want to do, which means we're going to see Tempo Storm go about things in very similar fashion. Kitchen destruction on the hallway as well as the floor inside of Kitchen for vertical play to try and prevent a lot of things that eUnited want to attempt to do. We are going to have nice adjustment here, though, as Tempo Storm starts to work down dirt. Mark in tandem with the shield play. Dream as the first toxic bag pops off from the smoke, but we could see a rush from Dream at any moment in time. This shotgun's not going to have enough pellets to try and kill him on that shoulder. And that's exactly how you try and handle these blitz situations. But Creators on the other side of the map is motion down Oil Pit, and he takes down Kansan and Yeti. That's a huge pickup here as Alfama and Rexon continue to try and hold down dirt. Tempo Storm doing a very good job of applying pressure from multiple angles.
Rexon, of course, now being careful of the potential swing from blue here, too. Can't always full support his teammate, who's trying to fend off the push. Alfama, of course, is now out of charges, can no longer delay the inevitable, and in comes the push. Mark gets the first one. A bit of an awkward engagement at the end of the tunnel here, but Crazy's going to be able to pick up Rexon as well. Down to Grixer now in the 1v5 scenario. Plant is already happening on the inside of Arsenal here. Crazy's just seconds away from completing it, and he absolutely will not get interrupted here. Grixer is trying to be so careful with his positioning, but he's already taken a couple hits, is trying to stay hidden, but it's not going to work out. Mark finishes things off for Tempo, and they get a flawless round on top of it.
Very strong round there from Tempo Storm, and more than likely not going to see a more utility-centric setup by eUnited again. They weren't able to get the initial picks that have been able to assist them in getting these rounds so far. And when Tempo Storm are allowed time, they're able to produce so much inside of these rounds. I really like the dirt push there with the Shield of Blitz. And Dream not necessarily doing the most there, just his presence alone really shifted eUnited's sights towards dirt. And I mean, Mark practically using Blitz as a moving half wall as he's taking down everyone inside of dirt. Had a little bit of an awkward engagement there with the Jaeger, but nevertheless, still able to bag and tag the round. Flawless round from them, and nice adjustments overall. eUnited going to head back downstairs. Not going to have too much of a change up, though. We are going to have the smoke mute combo here. I don't believe we have anything fresh here besides Rexon moving over to the Legion.
No, I think you're right on that one. They're just going to try and slow down. More than likely, this is to slow down Dream's push, which would make sense considering how much he was able to push down dirt last time after we saw those smoke charges deplete themselves. So hopefully just trying to delay things a little bit further with the addition of the Legion. And the best part is with Legion, much like some of the other operators in the pool, he can kind of set it and forget it when it comes to some of his utility and kind of build himself up throughout the round, as that utility will regenerate over the course of the round before he gets to his maximum cap, which I think is 6 or 7 of the mines that he can have down at any given time.
They lowered it from 8. I think it's 6 again. Yeah. I think it's 6. It might even be more than that. I haven't complained about Legion in a long time. So. Well, we'll see. I'm sure the Reddit analysts will get to us. Don't worry about it. Anyways, so
yeah, not that it makes sense.
So eUnited going for another realm setup here on the basement site, but this isn't the one that we're usually used to seeing. No castle brought for this lineup from the defense, so we'll see what their main game plan is here, as eUnited seem to want to hold onto the top floor for at least a little while, just to waste some time and eventually skimper on back to site. But we've seen that Tempo Storm are actually quite proficient at clearing this, as well as getting their own flanks off to have an impact on this roam game.
So Logi Hatch opened up very quickly here by Mark. Not that that's a massive objective they have to worry about. No additional pressure put on it, though, so Yeti still has full freedom to roam around upstairs here. Just quickly knifes away a drone. Going to open up an escape vector and actually just going to take it. Doesn't want to stay around for the fight that would occur from that hatch, or excuse me, the wall getting opened a second ago. Dream more than likely heard or has an inkling that this player fell back recently, though, so they are being cautious near the hatch and the general area surrounding it, just in case it was a false noise meant to throw them off and that player is still indeed hiding upstairs. Yeti could get a lineup here in a second. I can see that silhouette in the distance. I'm just not sure if he sees it and if that player is actually visible from this perspective. Hard to tell, of course, but either way here, Creator's actually a really good stun. Gonna go right into the face of one of the members of eUnited, whether he realizes it or not. Sees the foot, doesn't shoot at it yet, though. Wants him to swing, but it's gonna end up costing him, as they'll end up trading each other in that situation.
What?
Both somehow get headshots.
That was a crazy flick from Creators right there. I'm at a loss for words. That's how crazy that was. Oh my goodness gracious. eUnited finally skimper on back after Yeti gets taken down on kind of a weird play there towards the strip hallway, but still able to bag Creators. So big pickup for them is they're limiting Tempo's success inside of round 6. Tempo, though, now have top control. They just need to get down to the mid floor and start making some efforts towards getting some pressure onto site. Still have Dream on this blitz, but have a big effect over here. Is Tempo not really having a lot of work done so far? eUnited completely centralized around the downstairs area, which is exactly what we expected, but only some real work done inside of kitchen. Actually, no, that's just a black blob on the floor, so no verticality done at all until Mark's finally able to get some done inside of the kitchen area. And with only 30 seconds remaining, this is probably going to be a low effort execute here for Tempo Storm.
Like you said, very, very low time remaining here. Tempo very much going to have to force the issue. They don't have time to open up the church wall, really anything downstairs here. But as we'll see, the breach will come in. Grixer with a great adjustment there. It looked like he might have got caught for a second, but thankfully it's the shield player pushing him first. Gets an opportunity to take him down. Despite this, though, Mark and Crazy making the impact they need to get into sight. Kansas is going to shut it down, along with Alfama, though, before that gets to a dangerous point. And United will still control the round, giving us the expected result we were looking to see at that point.
Dream got eaten alive as soon as he tried to sprint inside. That was terrible for him. But I guess nice attempt there by Tempo Storm. Just at the end of the day, not the greatest thing. eUnited and Tempo Storm split 4-2 to each side's perspective favor. eUnited looking pretty solid on that defense, but just making some weird adjustments every once in a while that really didn't favor them too well. So Tempo Storm able to pick up 2 rounds as they're now on that defense once again. We're headed downstairs here, and right off rip, they're going for the SSG roam. Mozzie, Mute, Malusi, Castle, Legion. That's a nice setup to try and handle this overall. Probably going to see Malusi as well as Legion dedicated, well, mostly Legion's dedicated throughout the map, but Malusi is going to be dedicated downstairs just in case eUnited want to attempt to rush the site.
Right, so usual triple reinforcement coming in right off the bat here for Tempo Storm as they're going to try out the basement defense. Important to note the castle barricades that'll be set up here for the folks on Tempo Storm. It's going to cause a little bit of a change up in the play style here overall for eUnited, especially if they don't have the capability to take that down. But the good news for them is they've got a good amount of soft breach to be able to deal with that through Grixer, Rexen, and Yeti there. Of course, bringing the breaching charges on top of that will make dealing with those a little bit less of a cumbersome task. Either way, though, Tempo is definitely setting up for an extended roam game here. Yeti's got a really nice drone that they haven't spotted yet, so they're getting a lot of intel on what exactly this roam game may be looking like, at least on Master's side, and more importantly, giving them intel as to how they might be able to tear that apart.
Well, eUnited are proving history wrong here, at least for the last matchup between these two. Just remember that both of them were previous iterations of these squads. Nevertheless, though, last time they were on Clubhouse, Tempo Storm was able to win 7-3 up against eUnited. So eUnited already ahead on round count from the previous matchup. So good news so far for them. Now they have to try and perfect some of these offenses as we've already started things off hot. 40 seconds in so far. pressure onto the cash side as Tempo Storm still dedicated to this roam game.
And there's good reason as to why they might be doing that, considering the dominance we saw from the defensive roam game back on map number 1 here. Tempo more than likely want to test the waters a little bit within these first couple rounds of the half to see if they can use that to really hamper the overall execute potential for eUnited when it comes to the late round here. It's a bit risky considering they're down 2 rounds, but we'll see how it pans out, as they are going to lose quite a bit of health from taking the battle there against Rexon, but they do indeed win it, bringing it down to a 5v4. Big problem, though, is both Crazy and Dream can really only take 1 or 2 more bullets here now for the rest of the round.
Rexon given as much as he gives, but I mean, given as much as he takes, excuse me, but still loses out that gunfight. 2 people working the same angle for Tempo Storm. No one exactly expecting that, so early picks now and plenty of presence here for Tempo Storm as they're still spread throughout the entire map, and this is going to be a major problem for eUnited. Their drone economy is still looking quite good, so they're going to have quite a few options when it comes to the droning, but the problem is now is they believe that most of these Tempo members have went back to site. Alfama and Grixer have now rotated all the way over to Strip. They might actually have some presence or at least some information on Crazy. I continue to hear these Z pings going off in my ear, so they definitely have some form of information as Grixer's now droning things out. Hot ping comes in, they know Crazy's all the way back inside of maintenance as Kansan able to pick him up with the AK.
Much like what we saw from the last half, though, a good amount of time being wasted as a result of this here, just spending their time trying to clear out a roamer inside a strip there. Not always an area you see quite a bit of play at this level of the game. Either way, though, with eUnited seconds remaining, eUnited can begin to set up for their overall execute. We did have a soft breach capability on that hatch right above there, so it is going to get opened up relatively quickly by just one Selma being tossed onto it, and away from that, another avenue of attack, of course, being opened up for eUnited to try and use here. They're going to need to use it very, very soon. As like I said, time's getting low. Kansan's already dropped in with the diffuser. He's going to quickly try to open up one of the church walls. They're going to have additional support coming on that. Nitro Cell goes through, but it is going to get eaten up, it looks like. Not exactly sure by what. We'll look back on that later. Tempo will get the next kill here, though, as Mark jumps into the fight. Yeti will quickly trade it back out into his favor, but Craters equalizes things and adds another one on top of it. He's over to the sidearm now, but he falls to that. However, Mark arrives to save the day and finish off the round for Tempo as they take the first on defense.
Strong stuff here from Tempo Storm. Amazing roam game and inevitably shutting down the offense of eUnited. Looking throughout that round, though, it was really apparent as to how this Habana ban is affecting things. Finally clicking for me as well, so I'll try to explain it for you guys as best as I can. So the reason that we're not seeing a lot of Sledge being brought or Buck being brought right now is because of that Habana ban, as well as the Maverick. They're not able to get hatches like they once were, most notably with the Habana, so now they have to bring the Ace to compensate for that being off the board. So when they bring Zofia and Ash, they have to bring breaching charges for the verticality because the Habana is now missing inside of the lineup. So all of that, those throwables that they need in order to burn through this utility of the defense aren't there strictly because Habana's off the board. So it makes a very weird dynamic. I know I've been using that word quite a bit today, but it's just very awkward for the offense to try and deal with quite a few things. I mean, looking at the secondary utility brought by the offense right now, we only have 3 stuns here. Everything else is either a launchable, like what Rexon's bringing with his Zofia utility, or we have smoke still for Kansan. So they're really leaning on what Yeti's going to be able to achieve with these EMP grenades to try and get rid of these shields and things along those lines.
All right, guys. Well, Tempo only one more round away from being able to tie this matchup up at 4-4 with them having the overall map lead. eUnited needs to step up in a big way now. This is the site where we saw really domination from eUnited's own defense, and now they're going to get an opportunity to test out Tempos here and see if they can hold it just as strongly, or if United truly is the master of this site, both on attack and defense. At least for defense, this was illustrated in the last half, and now with an opportunity to show it on the attacking side. For Tempo's setup here, not going to see anybody roaming out on the second floor too heavily over towards the master side. But the first floor is a bit of a different story, as we do have a little bit of presence, I should say, already established here for Tempo. Creator's also lurking in tunnel right now, too. So that was just an interesting note that I wanted to touch on right there. But he's already going back and is more than likely going to play to more standard positions over here on the blue stairs. Might have just been going out there to reinforce those. But no, that wouldn't really make much sense. I can see they're soft from here. So ignore my rambling.
Well, eUnited already making quite a bit of progress on their offense. Have some pressure over towards Platt. They're working on the wall right now, but they have to worry about Dream Bandit tricking, as well as creators inside of Secret, waiting for anyone to try and go inside of the lounge area. to handle Dream through that vertical play. Concussions in for Rexa now is going to leave the wall open, and as soon as it's blown open, Dream adjusts over towards top red. So some nice crosses being held here from Tempo Storm. You guys can see Crazy and Mark both dedicated to that wall right now, just making sure that eUnited can't rush in.
Mark, of course, continuing to wait for pressure to come in. He knows that the wall has been breached, so he's going to set up a few of his magnets in the event, and any flashbangs work their way out into the general area of the garage that he can hopefully fend a few of those off before ultimately succumbing to the utility from eUnited here. Still making good time here for eUnited as well. You've got about half the round remaining. They've already got their main breach point open, and they can spend a good 45 seconds or so here working on a secondary entry point if that is their desire before really needing to commit themselves. Mark nearly getting caught here by Kansan as he jumps off rappel up onto the actual balcony, uses one of his smoke grenades as well to mask the Selma that he's going to use to try and take things out. But Dream will actually throw a nitro cell in there that should destroy the Selma, but it more than likely got 1 to 2 of the charges off, and I'm not entirely sure if that was meant for the Selma or not, but it ended up taking it out, so that's what it was used for.
Well, actually, the crazy thing is it didn't take it out, and Kansan's got to get a kill through the angle because of it. It actually ended up opening the wall, even though it was a little late, nitro. So either way, very, very weird there that ended up going through. Obviously, the initial one would have went off, but either way, eUnited with the first pick up here, and that's a big one. Now garage pressure for eUnited, but Jarvis has worked his way underneath. eUnited's definitely going to worry about this, though, and they have plenty of time to check that box, as Alfama's going to get lit up. Creators with a very nice shot, and actually Jarvis able to down the man with the diffuser from underneath, but Yeti cleans that up so very quickly. Now down into the 1 versus 4 for Creators, and it's done and dusted faster than I can finish my sentence. eUnited claim round 8 here as we continue to move forward.
Convincing fashion as well there from eUnited, like I said, truly showing themselves to be quite dominant on that cache site, both from the defensive and the attacking sides, of the way that they were able to close things out there. A 2-round lead once again established for them as well. They conserved the lead they had back at halftime by trading out the first 2 rounds on defense. Despite that loss, though, Tempo does believe it's the best choice to continue to try and execute on that site before basement's unlocked on the next round, instead of attempting Master over on the other side of the second floor. So they'll relock into CCTV here once more and see if they're going to have better luck on a second attempt.
We are going to be moving Jarvis away from the Valkyrie and picking up the Melusi. I like to pick up Melusi, an operator that is so influential over rounds, not only with her primary utility, but her options for secondary utility, bringing the impacts or the nitro cell. This time around, Jarvis will be bringing the impacts, so we'll see his presence probably around the basement area, centralized around garage, as well as trying to prevent anyone from getting the construction wall open. We'll just have to see how he plays it out, but he's very pivotal inside of this setup, so just pay attention to how influential he can possibly be. For Mark, though, he's going to be dedicated back upstairs with the rest of the squad, trying to hold things down inside of garage. Hopefully it goes better for him this time around, because that was really the end-all be-all for Tempo Storm inside of that last round that we ended up seeing, was that Mark got picked off inside of garage later on after some good utility usage by the offense to establish some new lines of sight, making it damn near impossible for Mark to stay alive no matter where he was inside of the rafters area. Usually when the initial breach gets open for CCTV, he's going to be stuck around R2, which is exactly where he's standing, well, previously with that ADS there. But until that next wall is opened up, Mark now has nowhere to go, so he ends up getting picked off. His OMI discs and nothing else besides the grace of God could possibly save him, and not even that worked out. So we'll see if they're able to hold down garage, and that's going to be the main linchpin here for Tempo Storm's defense.
A lot of presence from eUnited on the rooftop right now here as they're still trying to set themselves up. Obviously, a lot of work to be done as they still need to get the wall open, among other things here to set themselves up. Grixer and Kansan just quickly take out the security window here, or at least open up a bit of an angle to work off of from it. We're going to see one of the EMPs thrown. In fact, 2 of them thrown. One goes way over the top of the building from the looks of it there, and the second one does end up impacting, but it's not going to be enough for them to actually make the attempt at the hard breach just as of yet. Looks like one more should be coming in a moment here, and then they'll make the actual breach attempt here with Alfama on the Thermite being the one to probably open it.
Well, it's a dance that we're so very used to. His Dream gets back on the wall, but he's immediately concussed. Oh, no. Very, very unfortunate. That door can work out. They ended up barricading there, but the problem was that Jarvis didn't have a forward enough position to where the concussion would go off immediately when it went through the drone hole. So a little bit of a misplay there from Tempo Storm. Those concussions able to get the wall open, and a lot of worry for Tempo Storm right now.
Half the round having been gone, though, at the very minimum, Tempo were able to delay the wall opening a little bit more, so there could be some hesitance, but more, probably going to lose that pretty quickly here as Grixer just storms right in, gets himself a double off the bat, and is possibly going to be able to make this a third one if he continues to push his advantage into either top red or the inside of Cash. Holds himself for the time being, though, takes the smart choice and backs out here, knowing they've already got a good advantage and over a minute still to work with here. They're going to take a moment of pause. This does give, of course, a few seconds for Tempo to readjust as well and still get them into a better position, but if eUnited can set up a secondary angle of attack on this retreat, it may work out even better for them.
There's a lot of positives still left for Tempo Storm. Dream doesn't have a nitro cell, so that's not the best thing in the world, but Creator's positioning right now, very, very important. I don't believe they've droned him out either unless they have a sneaky drone inside a garage, which there's plenty of spots for that, but if he's able to stay here undetected, then this could be the round-winning change that Tempo needed. eUnited still setting up to try and get this execute to go off. Plenty of presences. They were just previously inside of sight, but they've obviously hopped out. Dream able to get a kill. Here's someone hop inside, but the next gunfight not as lucky. Kansan takes him down as Creator's actually able to pick up one, almost goes for two, but gets fragged out as another man hops inside of the CCTV window. Rexon with some nice refrags though, cleans up round 9 for eUnited and pushes them to map point.
Still some great control there overall by eUnited. Overall, a great start, especially off of those two entries there, and I really like how they don't double down on that and take kind of an unnecessary risk pushing themselves into either Cash or top red there. Yes, it could have led to more kills and they could have ended the round even quicker, but alternatively, they could have lost those players and lost the advantage they got if they committed more than one to it right off the bat there. So they take a smart choice, they back out, they spend a good 20-30 seconds redroning the site to get double confirmation on where the players from Tempo are actually positioned at. Then they go back in, then they recommit, and as you see, it happens in pretty clean fashion there, except for one or two trades that go down. So they're able to take quick control of that round, and as Stoke said, set themselves up onto map point here. A potential tie now at 1-1 is in the future if United can get one more out of the next three.
Well, see if United can do it. If we do end up going to the last map as well, that's going to be Villa, which, funny enough, eUnited banned in the previous matchup in between these two. Again, all the way back to that matchup on July 15th. I feel like July 15th is just like when eUnited and Tempo Storm just started dating or something. Every single time I look up a date, it's always July 15th in between these two. So now they're married or whatever, however you guys want to ship it. You can figure it out, Twitch chat. I'm sure you guys got that one covered. Tempo Storm shifting some things up, specifically Mark shifting gears here as he's now onto the Pulse. We haven't seen any Pulse play so far throughout this map on Clubhouse, which is funny enough because there's actually a spot dedicated to this op right where Mark's standing. This is Pulse spot, right where he is. So, Pulse, a very influential operator, especially with that cardiac sensor. You're going to get a lot of intel that will help your defensive players adjust to what the take is for eUnited, since he's able to see through walls. And creepily enough, he's able to see you because your heart's beating. So that's, for all the people that hate medical stuff like me, it's a little
Okay.
You're welcome.
So getting into the round once again here, taking a look. United just peppering some shots to the floorboards here in Kitchen. Mainly because that Pulse is down there, of course. They need to be aware of that. They need to open up some purview down below here to be able to play off of, and more importantly, to be able to dodge some of these nitro cells, at least get better audio cues about what's coming down from below. Yet he dodges that first one that I believe was thrown out, not by Mark, in fact, but is indeed going to be chucked in there by another player. Away from that, it's actually...
I can't believe you think my phobias are funny, but that's cool. It's fine, John. Don't worry
no,
about
I mean, I get a little woozy at that stuff too. I just thought it was an interesting point you brought up.
Oh, man. Well, eUnited making some good progress upstairs so far, working on the hatches, the regular rigmarole that we're used to, but no picks happening on either side just yet. Tempo Storm, though, getting quite a bit of information from Mark, which we were talking about previously. This cardiac sensor working wonders on the main stairs. No real pressure towards the east side of the map just yet, but we might not even see any. It just depends on what eUnited truly wants here. They still have an EMP in their pockets, so there's a lot of avenues that they can take in order to handle this situation. Right now, it's looking more like a church take than anything. Alfama's going to rotate and pop Blue Hatch as well. The last remaining hard breach, obviously being Kansan, still has 3 of his Selma charges in his pocket, so a possibility of 1 hatch or a lot of wall destruction, and it seems to be the latter, John, as the wall destruction goes through, but Impact's now gone for Jarvis. Needs a follow-up here. No one's got it. Now the wall's all of a sudden open for Church.
Open for business on the inside of the Church here. eUnited have got their path to the inside. Can they actually make the push happen, though? This is where Tempo found a lot of success at the beginning of the half, and now they're going to need to try and repeat it. And they, in fact, they have to repeat it, As if not, we are going to be looking at an end game for map number 2. Dream gets us off to a good start, though. Eliminates Grixer. Now holds the angle against more main stairs players that may try to push in. Crazy will take the duty of watching Moto. And he's got to do a little bit of double duty here, too, because the breach is there. So he's not fully safe to sit in his current position and only watch that. Bit of a complex hole that Tempo now have to work with because of that opening. In fact, they try to get aggressive when they see the tracers from Rexen. They're not going to be successful. Nitro Cell is also a miss. Rexen, in the meanwhile, is able to take out Creators. And we'll see Dream once again there for the trade. Very much the player that's keeping Tempo alive in this round right now and continuing to waste down time. He's going to fall to Kansan, though. Rexen will continue to push the advantage forward. Kansan also gets his second. Everything's on Crazy, but there's no time. He gets right in the face of one player. Drops the box in the process, but looks away, giving away his own position to Rexen and allowing for eUnited to close out on map number 2 and tie the series up at 1-1.
What a map here on Clubhouse. Tempo Storm